street soccer is nothing new. You know, it's what you do when you don't have a field or you don't have a ball. You find something, you know.
I started playing street soccer very, very young. I was, since I remember, I started walking. My dad was a professional player, so it made it easier.
So I started playing soccer when I want to say 4th. I think my mom had some philosophy that since I'm a Pisces, I was good with my feet, and she was into astrology and stuff.
I started playing soccer when I was 5. My older brothers played in a league, and I just followed his steps, and basically we would play every day in the backyard in a small little lot in the back of my parents' house every day.
I started playing soccer when I was 8 years old, out in my front yard with my cousins.
I met Jay at first. Jay and I, when we were little, we were good friends, best friends, played soccer together, AYSO All-Stars when we were like 10, and then we ended up going to the same college.
I was playing college at Cal State Fullerton in the season of 2001. Adriano came from Brazil. He ended up coming to Cal State Fullerton. We played our junior and senior years together there.
And then Jason and Lawrence were on the college, and we were one of our rivals. After the college ended, we maybe trying to play professional. We have the passion for the sport, but United States does not have that passion.
About the same time, Nike was going to form this street soccer team, and the goal was to be brand ambassadors for Nike and promote the game.
And they held tryouts. Saw Tim there. Obviously, we knew who each other were.
Tim and Lawrence made the team.
We were called the Nike Skill Squad.
Would go to any tournament and just kind of crash it, get out with the ball, and just do tricks and juggle. And early on, it was just me and Lawrence.
Robbie LaBelle at the time, he was brand manager or assistant brand manager of soccer. He was looking for a couple other players to add to the team.
And we told them about our friends. I introduced Robbie LaBelle to Adriano, told me to be perfect for it, and Lawrence did the same with Jason.
He gets to come out and try, have a good time, see what it's like. So we go out there, and then we ended up being picked up as well.
Let my ball swing from here to East Coast. Now I'm doing my thing in Japan. Yeah.
And Robbie, liked the way I play. I think so,
It ended up being the 4 of us were then kind of selected after all of that as the main 4 guys that would do every event that we could, anything soccer related.
Who would have thought back then when you were playing that a couple years down the road you guys would be working together and become much better friends than just competitors.
We got into it, had a good time. You get free Nike products and stuff. You get to play soccer, get a little paid for it, so can't beat it.
Not too long ago, they had a Nike national commercial, and we were all in it.
We also have the video game. It's pretty crazy to see yourself on television, little little characters.
One thing led to another. People began to recognize us.
You kind of have been the mainstay for the image of the Nike's Skill Squad.
Nike thought that there was 4 different looks, there was 4 different personalities, and it just complements each other, I guess. That is how it is when we hang out. It just works, it's easy. There's no conflict. We all know each other well enough.
In terms of personality, Lawrence is a thinker. You can see the thoughts, like as you look at Lawrence, you can see his head working sometimes. And
Lawrence is the thinker. That's right on.
Tim is a real easygoing, chill kind of guy. Just kicks it kind of
Competitive.
Competitive, yeah.
Super competitive.
Jay's night and day. Jay's,
It's like sometimes Jay will show up and then there's Jackson. Jackson is his alter ego. So kind of switches the flavor a little bit, you know. Jay's like the serious type and Jackson's like all over the place.
Adriano slows everything down.
That's true, yeah.
He's Brazilian.
I like being around people.
Adriano Formiga. So it's like a hot ant. What is it? Fire ant?
We have different styles, but they all come very well together.
Hey, cheers. Cheers.
A friend of ours told us about the idea, kind of just said it'd be a cool trip if we went to Germany.
You know, I'm going to the World Cup. I want to go to the World Cup. This is once every 4 years. Are we gonna go? Are we gonna go? Are things gonna fall in the right place? And 2 weeks before, it's just like, yeah.
Just ecstatic, you know, you couldn't believe it.
And in Germany, man, that was a dream come true.
It was monumental in my life growing up and playing soccer, and being able to witness it as a fan is probably the greatest thing a fan can do.
Every single soccer player I know, every professional player, every fan wants to be where we were June of 2006.
The idea behind this film is if you can go anywhere and find football, you can find it however you want to find it. If it's on a big screen with 100,000 people, if it's spending, you know, every dollar you've worked for to buy a ticket and go in the stadium and watch the game, if it's just cheering with fans, the game is universal for a reason.
So we landed in Germany and we were anxious to go watch the game.
Our goal is to get off the plane as fast as possible.
Every day we be what? Hustling, 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 hustling.
Already we noticed on the city there was the World Cup kind of feeling. People walking with different flags all over the buildings, everywhere.
So we checked the schedule and we saw that Germany was playing Poland up in Dortmund. So we all hopped in the car.
One of the funnest parts was just being in the van, getting to the event.
My name is Jason. Yeah. I'm on the street team. Yeah. I do it so what? Yeah. So fresh and so clean. Yeah. Hey, you know it. You know it. And that person that goes, then Tim, go. No, I'm not ready.
So here in Dortmund was our first venue that we got to go to, and we arrived and it was 4 hours before the game, and there was tons of Polish fans everywhere. And there was tons of German fans everywhere, and it was the stadium outside was just buzzing, and we just immediately got involved. And the first thing we could think of is, let's get the ball out, touch it amongst ourselves, kick it to other people, because besides all the atmosphere, there was a ball missing, and we had it. Let's show them what we can do and see what they think of it. Before you knew it, we had cops kicking the ball back to us. We had everyone mixing it up with the ball right outside the stadium.
You could see that feeling of the passion out in everybody's, with the faces painted and everything.
No luck buying tickets outside the stadium, so for 2 hours till game time, we went back into the city trying to find a place where we could watch the game at.
I mean, we were walking down the streets with hundreds of people just trying to find a TV to watch the game.
We went and stopped at a bar, a Spanish bar. The bar was crowded. German and Polish all over the place, cheering.
We could barely see the game, but it was amazing to see these people, everyone glued to the TV. The best part about it was Germany ended up winning the game in the 90th minute, and everybody from every viewing spot you could see jumped up at the same time once this goal was scored and immediately ran out of the restaurant. Everyone ran into the streets. We were, of course, right in the mix of it, ran outside in the streets, jumping around, celebrating, hugging.
The city had stopped. The big street, the big avenue was stopped. No cars, people walking.
Everyone started immediately walking deeper into town, you could say, and we just joined in. We started walking. At one point, the four of us got into a game with these Polish guys. There was a small little field set up just for looks for the town, and we put a full-on game on in the middle of the rain, the lightning, people walking by, and we challenged these four guys. It was awesome.
It's the joy of the game, you know, you could play anywhere, meet anybody, you know, and have something in common right away. And just have this kind of bond that's kind of unspoken, just the ball says it all.
At the end of the night, after we knew that we had a 5-mile walk, we started walking back. And that whole time, couldn't believe what just happened, what we just got to experience.
Brazil and Korea were staying in Cologne. So we went to the Brazil's facility first. We couldn't get in, but we could see how the players are treated. It's sometimes better than even a president.
Brazil will take over the whole castle.
Yeah, that's our hotel.
We're gonna stay at waterfront. The ducks looking after our stuff.
Yeah, it's security. Then we went to the Korean facility, which was a nice castle.
This is a castle that was at the top of this huge hill on the outskirts of Cologne, and massive, and the team had the whole castle to themselves. We went outside and kind of kicked the ball around.
This Korean guy just jumps in and starts playing with us. When we start juggling with him, this guy started to show his skills.
He was juggling the ball with us and hitting it off his thigh and laughing. And there was a language barrier, but kicking the ball was the only way we were communicating. It was cool.
After that, we went home, and we were just hanging out at the house, and we saw this trail, so we decided just to walk on back and see where it led us.
Behind the backyard, there's this country club. We see this big field, kids playing, you know, like a secret spot, a secret soccer location.
First tried to set up a little game where we got the kids involved, and then it ended up being every kid wanted to play, and we jumped in, and the four of us challenged every kid that was out on the field.
was cool. It was fun. We were kind of just exchanging, almost like gifts, kind of like what we, we're learning from them. They're learning from us through the game of soccer.
And the kids loved it. We loved it. And it kind of bonded and let the people come up to us and start conversation.
I have to work on my German.
I tried to use my German, but it wasn't working.
Wer ist der beste Verein?
Beste Verein.
Ja. Dann wer ist der beste Verein?
I was teaching the little boy how to do the solvi here. Despite the language barrier, it was easy to teach him how to play soccer. Like, the ball is all you needed, and a passion for the game.
On the fourth day, we went to Gelsenkirchen. Gelsenkirchen. What was the name again?
Gelsenkirchen.
Gelsenkirchen.
Where we going?
Gelsenkirchen.
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 Gelsenkirchen. Got it. There's so much traffic just getting there.
Because this is an old, I think it was like an industrial city, and it wasn't made to have these large crowds of people.
Like, you have the people on the outside of us walking by us. We're just sitting in this traffic. They're walking by faster than us. You have the metro and the train going right down the middle between the two streets, like passing us, and you got all these fans on there cheering.
And they were just, you could tell the passion. They were just going crazy over the country. The flags in the air, the jerseys on, chanting already, screaming, yelling.
The stadium itself was hidden behind a bunch of trees, and all we could hear was fans like just chanting. And as we go up this trail through the trees, and you see this stadium sitting on top of this hill. The fans outside, everyone's trying to get tickets.
We went to the fan park right there in Gelsenkirchen to catch the game. And you walk in there and it's just a mass of people.
Fans just stand as close as they can to the screen, and all these people standing for 90 minutes, an hour, staring at the game. At the time, Argentina was killing Serbia, Montenegro, but everybody kept watching the game and cheering and chanting. It was real cool to see. We didn't need to have tickets and be in the stadium to capture what it's like to be in the World Cup atmosphere.
Different vendors and music and just liveliness, and there's just so much visual stimulation. It's a calm place. No one's getting all wild and fighting and stuff like that.
Was somewhere along the way at the Fan Fest with us, Adriano didn't have a clue where he went.
Football connecting people.
In Binnsburg, we played in this 2v2 tournament.
The four of us split up. We made two teams.
Jay and I were teammates, and Tim and Adriano were teammates, and there were a few other teams there.
The competition was quite good, of course. You know, there's some good players out there. A couple guys who actually played professional currently for some of the second division teams. The final game was us four, actually. It ended up being myself and Lawrence against Tim and Adriano in the final. I mean, we're all pretty competitive guys. Even though we're all friends, we're pretty competitive amongst each other, so it got a little rough in it at that time.
I thought we beat you guys, though, right?
I don't even want to talk about it, I think. We didn't do so well, me and Tim. But you know, we got the mags. We got the moves. I'll buy a new shirt. We didn't lose. We won.
We lost to those punks, Dad.
We won experience, okay?
Son, this is one of the most exciting moments of my life. Winning this Father's Day tournament in Germany. This I give to you, son.
That's for all the dads out there.
Oh.
We love you, Pop. We love you, Dad.
Switch.
Later that day, we went to Cologne, the Fan Fest that they had there. Each venue was different. This one was cool because the main screen was just placed in the courtyard of the old cathedral. It was hot, and people you just stood there. It was out in the sun, and you had food and drink, and people just sat and talked and watched the game.
You know, when you're thinking about all this stuff and you're playing it over in your head, it's just like a movie, a little film, and you can't really grasp it all. But it's like you just have to be there. And that's the whole idea of being there and telling your story, because a lot of people just won't be able to experience that and see that. But to me, it's to have that in your head is priceless.
Berlin was next.
That didn't look like a normal city. It looked like you were in this big soccer fest with the whole city.
And Berlin was the biggest city we had been to yet. We didn't really know exactly where the venue was at. Started walking, following the masses of people. Everyone was walking one direction. And of course it led to the biggest fan fest we had been to yet, and I think the biggest one we went to.
A mile of people just to watch the game.
Brazil was on, and it was always an exciting game to watch. Brazil was playing Australia.
And it was just packed, jam-packed, thousands of people there. The energy in the crowd is just incredible. You can't help but to be excited by it.
Who's gonna win?
Brazil, of course. That was kind of like the highlights of the trip for me. Watching Brazil and having so many Brazilians in Germany and so many Australians right next to you, you know, and then you're confident that Brazil is going to beat Australia.
Yeah. We were all impressed with Berlin, so we decided just to walk through the streets with all the other fans.
So we walked past this Jewish memorial. From eye view, it looked like it was kind of like flat, but then you walk at it and it kind of went down into the ground in this like pyramid type shape, like an inverted pyramid, with these long blocks coming out, it was incredible.
After that, we went to watch France against South Korea. The game tied 0-0.
And all of a sudden, the South Korean supporters were so happy that they tied the game. They're walking down and they're up screaming, dancing, yelling.
South Korean fans are, you know, crazy. They're good fans.
You didn't need to be American, you didn't need to be Korean, you were just celebrating the fact that everybody was there. So like, you would jump in, but we all know that we were celebrating the same thing without even having to say anything.
There was nothing to celebrate with the U.S. team, so we just had a good time with them.
I remember the Berlin Wall, the part of the Berlin Wall where we drew on it.
We all had this little mini ball. You tried to see who could kick it the highest and furthest, possibly over the building.
We know where the hell we go, we lost. Today live on Channel 2 News, we have Lawrence Smalls here, coming direct from Berlin Television. Yes, BTV live in erect in effect. Wait a minute, I said erect. What's the recap on today's games against Brazil and Australia?
Well, Brazil, they had a slow start. I thought Australia came out the better side in the first half. Second half, Brazil came on strong. They're about as solid as a green apple in the second half.
As soon as we got into Cologne, we decided to take a train, to watch the game because the English were in town and the whole atmosphere was supposed to be way different.
As soon as you got off, you heard the English fans chanting everywhere.
The English fans were crazy. We went to go watch Spain-Tunisia, which was actually the day before the English game. And the fans were already in there drinking, getting crazy, and chanting and yelling.
But what they bring for a small country to the game, they have so much pride and so much patriotism.
They're passionate, you know, they're crazy passionate.
I can't believe this is going on! I can't believe it!
Very different than Brazilians. Brazilians like to dance and celebrate. The English like to really, you know, be passionate, drink their beer, and then yell at their players.
Your shit! And you know you are! Your shit! And you know you are!
The hanging from the statues and the loud, this kind of movements and stuff was pretty out of control, so it was a good sign.
So that was a good atmosphere right there, just to watch for the different cultures, how they deal with soccer, with the football, you know, the passion.
It was our last night there. It was the day before we left. At that time, kind of a little bit of time to reflect and remember kind of the trip a little bit. And it just went by so fast, and we were thinking back to how great the city was, how nice the people have been, the experience in itself, and kind of a little bit upset about leaving. This was our last day. We were sad about it, and we weren't looking forward to leaving just yet. The World Cup wasn't over.
When we decided to get involved with more of the town and where we were staying, we decided to go to a school.
We're playing, people were just sitting down to watch, and all of a sudden you see more and more people.
The kids all came exited out of their classes. decided to challenge them to a little small-sided game in their courtyard they had there.
Beat the Germans, big time. Try to pass a little bit more, try to dribble. It's not of us to dribble, but I think we're alright, you know? Very impressive, amazing.
It was very nice.
Dann hat jetzt ein paar Tricks gezeigt. Very cool.
Ja, very cool.
Really impressive, and it was really, really good. I want to play football like this. They are the best.
We had a good time with all these kids.
And the game brought us all together. Signing autographs for the kids and had a real good time.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao.
It's non-stop this trip, you know? Non-stop.
It was one of the best times of my life as a footballer because as a soccer player professional, you know your goal is to one day play in the World Cup. I didn't play there, but I was part of it. I didn't go as a fan, I went as an ambassador of the sport.
If you don't have a ticket, you can still live the game.
Not having tickets to the game, to me, it didn't even matter. Just the fact that we were there.
We did it. We went to Germany, we saw how it was, the passion, we saw how it was from outside, from the inside, from every single angle.
I couldn't really put it into words, honestly, because there's just so much to take in at one time.
The trip, it means a whole lot to me. Myself just developing as a person, that trip broadened my perspectives. Usually people see life like in a little scope, you know, but a trip like that just broadens your scope.
The whole experience was just something that you'll never forget.